welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. This early Friday afternoon video, clearly going to be a celebratory victory video for Celtic's comfortable, confident, morale-boosting, team spirit-boosting 2-1 win over Sturm Graz yesterday evening. Celtic scored 2 goals in the end, but it could easily have been 7 or 8 or even more because Nygren and Kenny missed quite a number of chances. And on another day, Celtic could have had a massive win over Sturm Graz. However, I think the key things from this, Celtic will look much more confident, a lot more pace in their play, a lot more directness, much more speed in their attack and their passing. Created a lot more chances than before, still a bit shaky at the back at times, but definitely first step on the road to recovery and a successful season, and I think it puts Celtic in a very good stead going into the vital game against Hearts away from home on Sunday. In today's video, we're going to have a wee look at the key incidents, the chances, the stats, player ratings, a rating for Brendan Rodgers, and as we go through one or two wee thoughts regarding the game and Celtic and the next couple of weeks where Celtic have quite a number of key fixtures. Brendan Rodgers started with a couple of changes to his team, not too unexpectedly. Alistair Johnston came in at right back. Benjamin Nygren was moved out nominally to the right, although his role seemed to be all over the place. And then Engels came to form the partnership of three that worked so well for all of last season in midfield. So Celtic started with Schmeichel in goals, Johnston, Carter Vickers, Scales and Tierney, McGregor, Hatate and Engels, Nygren and Chinyeki as the wide players, and Iheanacho through the middle. Celtic actually started nice and brightly, and I was very happy to see that there were no protests, disruptions, ball throwing onto the pitch, nothing to stop Celtic's momentum at the start of the game, which was a good thing, and I think that probably was why Celtic actually started quite well in the game. Unfortunately, in 3 minutes, Kelechi Iheanacho went off with what appears to be a hamstring injury. I guess he's going to be out for a number of weeks, which does give a chance for Johnny Kenny, Callum Osmond and Shin Yamada to get a number of games under their belt, and it may be that over the next 2 or 3 weeks or more, as an Iheanacho is out, we may well see players like Osmond or Yamada coming to the fore, or Johnny Kenny gaining a lot of experience and confidence from having regular starts. Celtic then had their first of their good chances. Johnny Kenny did very well dispossessing the defender on the right wing. He ran into the box, hit a good shot across the goal, and it only just missed the far post. Unfortunately, Celtic then went 1-0 down. Sebastian Chinyeki lost the ball near the halfway line on the left-hand side. Very quickly, Sturm Graz got the ball forward and into the middle, and then a brilliant shot by Horvat into the top right-hand corner gave Kasper Schmeichel no chance, and Celtic unfortunately were down 1-0 after just 14 minutes. Celtic could have easily got back into the game with a brilliant cross by Kieran Tierney. Unfortunately, Benjamin Nygren just slightly on the stretch headed it over the bar. Celtic had more chances in the 22nd minute. Arnie Engels had a shot deflected away for a corner. Then in the 23rd minute, unfortunately, Alistair Johnston went off, chasing back a long ball over the top. He seems to have re-injured his hamstring, and I guess he's going to be out for 4, 6, 8 weeks, and so possibly he's going to be out for the rest of 2025. Celtic had another chance in the 24th minute. Liam Scales, good ball over the top. Johnny Kenny, unfortunately, just slightly on his heels, not enough pace to get on the end of the pass. Otherwise, it would have been pretty much a certain goal. 30th minute, Sturm Graz actually nearly got their second goal, quickly getting the ball forward into tons of space behind Carter Vickers and Donovan on the right-hand side. And luckily, this time the ball hit the outside of the post and bounced away. Otherwise, Celtic could well have been 2-0 down against the run of play. Celtic had another chance in the 31st minute. Great cross by Kieran Tierney. Arnie Engels couldn't quite get enough power on the header, and it was cleared off the line by the Sturm Graz defender. 39th minute, lovely move with Sebastian Chinecki and Rio Hatate linking up. Good ball into the box, good cross into the box, and Benjamin Negrin yet again missed with a header. 42nd minute, Johnny Kenny got himself in behind the Sturm Graz defence yet again. Unfortunately, the shot was well saved at the near post, and yet again, no one was coming up to support Johnny Kenny, which was a big problem in the first half. Johnny Kenny very often isolated by himself in the box in the first half. 44th minute, Johnny Kenny had his fourth chance of the first half. Nice cross by Sebastian Chinecki across the 6-yard box, but unfortunately, Kenny just too slow and on his heels yet again, and not quite in the best position in the 6-yard box for a tap-in. So unfortunately, Celtic went in 1-0 at half-time. Celtic then had a brilliant chance just a few seconds into the second half. Mistakes in the Sturm Graz defence due to Celtic doing some very good pressing work. Ball broke to Rio Hatate. He then got himself some nice space on the edge of the box, but unfortunately his shot went over the bar. 47th minute, slightly controversially, Sturm Graz got a free kick near the edge of the Celtic box. Well hit free kick was, however, well saved by Kasper Schmeichel, pushing it out for a corner. Another good ball by Liam Scales into the box this time. Benjamin Negrin, rather poor header, missing his third chance of the game so far. And in the 60th minute, he missed his fourth chance. Great ball into the box by Colby Donovan. Benjamin Negrin had a shot which was saved and bundled out for a corner. Happily from that resulting corner, very quick work from Arnie Engels and Benjamin Negrin, found Colby Donovan in tons of space in the box, and he hit a lovely pass to Liam Scales, who actually hit a very nice left-footed angled finish into the far corner, putting Celtic 1-1 up. 1-1 and equal, and probably on the balance of play, very much deserved equaliser. 63rd minute, Benjamin Negrin had a header bundled out at the far post for a corner. Possibility of it being a handball, but it looked more like it came off the shoulder and neck area, not a handball. However, straight from that corner, Negrin had his sixth chance of the game. Brilliant cross by Arnie Engels into the front post. Goalkeeper made a bit of a mistake coming for it, and Negrin headed it into the empty net, and Celtic got a very deserved lead in the match in the 64th minute. Then, in a very much action-packed game, another vital moment, Sturm Graz had one of their players sent off for a rather nasty challenge on Callum McGregor, 69th minute. Chukwuemeka had a straight red card, upheld by VAR as a red card. It certainly was high. There certainly was a degree of force to it, and it could certainly have been described as reckless. It possibly, for me, was just a little bit on the harsh side, but I think by all the new rules under FIFA, UEFA, etc., it was a red card, and so Celtic had 20 minutes or so to play against 10 men. Celtic then had a number of other good chances, mostly for Johnny Kenny. Great pass crossed by Arnie Engels into the box. Unfortunately, Johnny Kenny sliding in knocked the ball over the bar. Same again in the 81st minute, great cross by Kieran Tierney from the left. And Johnny Kenny unfortunately headed over the bar. 84th minute, another brilliant cross and corner from Arnie Engels, headed at close range by Benjamin Negrin, and the goalkeeper made a brilliant reflex save to knock the ball over the bar. Another great cross by Colby Donovan gave Johnny Kenny his seventh chance of the game, but unfortunately His shot was rather poor and missed. Then another chance for Celtic, 89th minute. Mikel Onge Balakwisha, good run off his wing towards the box. Made a bit of space for himself. Unfortunately, his curling shot just cleared the bar at the junction with the post. And Johnny Kenny had his 8th chance of the game in the 4th minute of added time. Good pass again from Mikel Onge Balakwisha, but this time, unfortunately, rather poor, weak shot was very easily saved. And Johnny Kenny had 8 chances in the game, and Benjamin Negrin had 7 chances in the game. And so you can clearly see that Celtic on another day could easily have scored a lot more than the 2 goals. Rather concerningly, at the end of the game, Cameron Carter-Vickers limped off. Not sure whether it was cramped, not sure with his calf or his knee, not terribly sure, Johnny. And also, Rogers said he would have substituted Cameron Carter-Vickers earlier, but he had run out of substitute windows. Can't actually find any reference to that in any of the internet articles as to what Rogers was talking about. You may have a better idea about that than me, but I couldn't find anything in UEFA's guidelines for this Europa League or any general information, but you may know more about it than I do. Celtic certainly had made 2 early first half substitutions due to injury, brought on Mikel Onge Balakwisha for Sebastian Giniecki, but according to Rogers, he'd run out of substitutes, although it looked like we still had lots of substitutes on the bench, with Trusty and Dane Murray both being centre-back options coming off the bench. Now, stats very much are in Celtic's favour. Possession was 66 for Celtic, 34 for Sturm Graz. Very impressive 20 shots for Celtic, 8 shots just for Sturm Graz. Celtic had 7 on targets, 8 off targets and 5 blocked. Sturm Graz had just 1 shot on target, which was their goal, and 7 off targets. Kasper Schmeichel was credited with no saves, although I'm convinced he did make a save in the second half from that direct free kick, and the Sturm Graz goalkeeper was given 4 saves. Touches in the box were a very, very impressive 46-12 for Celtic. Corners 9-2 for Celtic. Celtic's passing accuracy was better than Sturm Graz. Their tackling accuracy, tackling success was greater than Sturm Graz, and they forced Sturm Graz into a lot more tackles, a lot more clearances than Celtic. Celtic's passing also was considerably better than it has been in the last several games. 603 passes altogether, 137 successful passes in the final third, slightly lower than usual, 24 crosses into the box. I think that's because Celtic much more got the ball into players actually in the box rather than trying to get the ball out wide, and they used a lot more variety of getting the ball into the box rather than trying exclusively to go out wide. In general terms, the number of backward passes and lateral passes was much better than it has been in the last month to 6 weeks or so, and forward passes were well over a third of the passes that Celtic did. So again, showing a lot of better attacking intent, a lot of better directness, and getting the ball into the box and into the dangerous zone much more efficiently with a variety of different ways of getting the ball there. I've given Brendan Rodgers a 6.5 out of 10 for his overall rating. I think that he pretty much got the selections pretty good. I think the use of 3 strong midfielders was good. I think he could have given Negrin more of a free role. Negrin himself tended to come off the wing on a regular basis. I think we could have got Johnston and Donovan overlapping a lot more. Substitutions, I think he was forced into those first 2 substitutions. I don't think there's any other option with that one. A bit surprised with taking off Giniecki to bring on Balakwisha. As Giniecki was doing a good job. I think it would actually have been an option to use Balakwisha or Negrin through the middle as the main striker, and using Balakwisha or Giniecki out wide in replacement of Negrin on the wing, bringing Negrin or Balakwisha centrally. And I do think overall Rodgers had a pretty good game. I don't think there was very much in terms of tactical tweaks that he did. However, I think the players responded well to their recent poor forms, and I think it's down massively to the players and only to a small extent to Rodgers himself. Now, in terms of player ratings, given Kasper Schmeichel 6.5, he had absolutely no chance with the Sturm Graz goal. I think he did make a good save from the direct free kick, although the official stats haven't given that to him as a save. And I think his distribution out the with by kicks, throwouts, and kickouts was all good. Um, and he got the ball out of his hands and out of his box nice and quickly. So 6.5 for him. I gave Alistair Johnston 7. I thought he was playing actually very, very well, getting forward, supporting midfield and supporting attack. I thought he was defending well, and then unfortunately he went off in the 23rd minute, but I still gave him a 7 out of 10. Given Carter Vickers a 6 out of 10, I think he was actually quite shaky in defence. His passing was really rather poor. He wasn't getting the ball forward or out wide quick enough. And I do wonder whether he was carrying an injury. Um, but his performance wasn't terribly good, I thought. So 6 out of 10. Given Liam's scale, 7.5 out of 10. His defending again wasn't terribly good. His passing, however, was better than before. He generally was getting the ball out wide or forward nice and quickly. He had a couple of really nice long over the top passes that were just about setting up goals. And of course, he scored that vital goal to get Celtic back into the game level. So 7.5 for him, 7.5 for Kieran Tierney. Defended well, showed lots of energy, lots of strength, good pace, got himself forward. Half a dozen very good crosses into the box that could easily have been goals. And I think probably Kieran Tierney's best performance so far of his second spell at Celtic. I've given McGregor and Hatate both 7 out of 10. The lot showed a lot more industry, a lot more creativity, some really good passes. Rio Hatate involved in 2 or 3 good moves for Celtic. Callum McGregor, better leadership, using the space that Sturm Graz gave him to get the ball moving forward, and generally his passing was a lot more positive and creative than it has been in the last month or so. And I've given Arnie Engels 8 out of 10 and joint man of the match. He had lots of good passes and crosses from free play, several great crosses from corners. He was part of the first goal and part of the second goal and could easily have set up 2 or 3 other goals in the game. Plus, he had a header on goal and a shot on goal. And so, 8 out of 10 in joint man of the match. I've given Benjamin Nygren 7 out of 10. He missed, as I say, 6 or 7 good chances. He, however, did score the Celtic goal. He was involved in the move that led up to the corner for the first Celtic goal, and he didn't look terribly confident going up and down the right wing. However, when he was cutting inside and playing more as a second striker, getting into the box on a very regular basis, I think he was very, very good. And hopefully, Rodgers uses a similar tactic on Sunday against Hearts, but this time gets players like Donovan, Hatate, Engels, etc., out wide on the right to create a bit of a more overload and overlap out there. No rating for Kelechi Iheanacho, was only on the pitch for 3 minutes or so, and I don't think he actually did anything when he was on the pitch. And I've given Sebastian Chinyeki 8 out of 10 in joint man of the match. He certainly was Celtic's most dangerous player for the first 70 minutes or so. Lots of good runs, lots of good passes. In the first half especially, he was very, very impressive. Second half, he was a wee bit quieter, mostly because he was getting double teamed, which of course created more space for Nygren, Hatate, Engels, McGregor, and particularly for Kenny. Bit surprised that he was taken off later on. Didn't look like he was injured, didn't look like he was getting tired. And so it was a slightly odd substitution. In terms of the substitutes, I've given Johnny Kenny 6.5. He made some nice runs. He harried the Sturm Graz defenders, created a couple of chances for himself, and he also missed a lot of chances. I think a good 7 or 8 chances Johnny Kenny missed in the game. However, this time at least he was getting himself into the box on a regular basis. A couple of times he did not quite have enough pace to get into the box and onto the ball in time to do the finish. But maybe with a few starts, he'll gain that killer instinct and striker's instinct, that wee bit more pace of reaction as well. Given Colby Donovan 7.5, I thought he had an excellent game after a first minute or two where he looked a bit confused, out of place, and disorientated about what his actual role was. However, after the first couple of minutes, he really got into the game. Some nice passes, nice crosses, and just looking to him to get a wee bit more further forward. And of course, he was part of that first goal. And I've given Mikael Ongbar-Lequisha 6.5. I thought he actually looked at his best so far playing for Celtic. He had a couple of chances he created for others, and he did have a good curling shot late in the game that just cleared the bar. And I think Celtic now do have some good quality players to come off the bench. And as I did say, we'd expect that, assuming that Maeda, Johnston, Iheanacho and Carter Vickers are out, I think it does give players like Osmond, Yamada, and either Trusty or Murray a good chance to come in for them. And obviously, I would guess Colby Donovan will be first choice right back until Alistair Johnston comes back, which may well not be until the new year. So that just about finishes off this post-match review of the Celtic against Sturm Graz game. No other major news and no definite news regarding those injuries as we speak early on Friday afternoon. Now, I will be doing a wee preview of the Hearts game sometime on Saturday once all the press conferences and news are finalised. And of course, this evening we are doing a live stream at 9 o'clock, which was moved from Thursday to Friday because of the Sturm Graz game running into almost 10 o'clock on Thursday evening. So do please join me Friday evening for the live stream. We will be going back to Thursdays for the next couple of weeks after that. And as we finish, just a wee polite suggestion, encouragement for those not yet subscribed to the channel. Please do click that subscriber button. Keep the numbers pushing up and up through the 1400s. Really nice to get new subscribers, new voices, new opinions. And as always, do pop your own thoughts, comments, etc. into the comment section. Please keep things pleasant, polite, respectful, nice family-friendly language. What your thoughts were regarding the performances, the goals, the chances, and Celtic's overall play. And so until the next video or until tonight's live stream, goodbye and hail, hail.